A historic crypto squeeze is underway, and is this sentiment driven or are there fundamentals at play? Today, we'll break it down for you. I want to thank our sponsor today, and of course, that is Uphold. If you are holding crypto right now and not earning rewards, you're essentially leaving money on the table. And the reality is, in today's market, you need to be able to move instantly. That's why Uphold's flexible staking is such a game changer. You can earn weekly rewards automatically on assets you already hold without a lockup. That's most important. You can sell anytime. It's the perfect setup for anyone who wants to grow their holdings without losing their exit strategy. Download the Uphold app today and try it for yourself. And let's just start with this right now, and that is a clip. And this is a recap of what happened yesterday at the Crypto Summit, so take a look.
1 year ago this summer, I signed landmark legislation known as the Genius Act. I named it after myself. I didn't want to use my name, so I just called it the Genius Act. So now we need Congress to take the next step by passing the Clarity Act, a fair version of the Clarity Act. Brian Armstrong, CEO, where are you? Oh, you look well. You get much younger. You look good. My male models, they look good, right? CTO and president of BitGo, which is a big deal in the world of that thing, that little thing that's happening out there. And Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Brad? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Brad. CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev.
If I had to sum up Robinhood in one word, it would be ownership. Yet this innovation is reaching investors abroad before investors here back home.
And CEO of Kraken, Arjun Sethi. Thank you very much.
So our motto at Kraken has been fix money, we fix the world.
Arjun, you're here. Arjun?
I'm still here.
You're here? You haven't left?
The most important priority is for Congress to send the Clarity Act to your desk for your signature. And the SEC is doing everything we can to support that work.
You know, make no mistake, there are folks out there who they want to see this legislation not happen, right? Maybe some of the big banks don't want the competition from crypto companies. And so if we all come together, I think we can get this bill over the finish line and hopefully get more than 60 votes come September 15th. Thank you.
And it's very bipartisan, I would say. So
that is true.
A lot of Democrat support. We have the hottest country in the world, and these people are helping us a lot. Thank you very much, everybody. Come on to the Oval Office. We're going to take them into the Oval Office. We're going to show them a real office, okay? Their offices are nice, but this is nice.
Did you watch Dominic Graham's debate, President? Thank you, Chris.
All right, so some interesting things happening, dynamics across the board. One thing that did happen, though, and that is sentiment shifted drastically in the market. Whether you look at some of the scenarios that have been behind what the Fed is doing and also what the Treasury is doing, it really boils down to a handful of things. One thing, though, that the Trump administration did mention is talking about a Bitcoin reserve. Listen to this.
Does the administration have any plans to accumulate sizable amounts of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies?
Well, it's been talked about. I think I'd probably rely on Paul and the whole group for that. He'll make a decision. You guys will make a decision, and you'll let me know. But certainly it's been talked about. It's taken a lot of pressure off the dollar. It's been very, very good for the dollar. And I think if you came in with recommendations, two of you, if you came in with some recommendations, I would certainly listen. It seems to be a pretty big subject. Yes.
So it's interesting that first of all, that he's asking for recommendations when I kind of thought that those recommendations had already been underway by the Trump administration. So again, I think just a little bit of grandstanding there, but also Bitcoin loved it. The market just continued to pump. Another project that also got some highlight under this meeting was Hyperliquid. Look what Trump said about that.
Mike is also working to bring Hyperliquid into the United States in a fully compliant and legal fashion. He's working very hard on that.
All right, so there was Selig kind of getting his little smile in, or smirk, whatever you want to call it. But one thing that did happen is Hyperliquid shares or tokens did surge 19% from 57 to 69. This, of course, is all on the idea of the CFTC working to onshore the world's largest decentralized exchange. This would be a big deal if this actually did happen, and if Selig and the CFTC can start to put that together, some pretty interesting things could start to occur. When you look at what Eleanor was researching here, it is in reference to the CFTC meeting that is going to be happening. This is an inaugural meeting around the Innovation Advisory Committee that has been out there. If you look at the list, you're going to see there's quite a few of the people that we would anticipate in this meeting. Kalshi, of course, Crypto.com, Anchorage Digital, Grayscale, Chainlink, Lighter in there, also OKX, and even to the extent I think we'll most likely see even more people coming in on this meeting. And all this lining up with what the CFTC could be doing in a way that I think could start to shift sentiment even more positively. Now, if you look at yesterday's meeting, and you kind of think, all right, there wasn't really anything decided out of this. It really didn't move clarity any further along. It didn't really give us something other than sentiment. That is the one thing it delivered on 100%. The CFTC meeting may actually put some teeth in this. We may get something that is a little bit more constructive for crypto in general. And I think that's where it sets up right now. The liquidation in crypto, well, it set records yesterday. Short sellers lost $3 billion in a single day. Last time we started to see this, there was some interesting things happening. The last time we saw that was October 10th. There's yesterday, and there is October 10th. Those are the kind of numbers that started to impact the market. And that is why we are seeing all-time movement on most every single crypto out there, especially in the top 20, and even to a certain extent, some of the altcoins that have started to move as well. If you look at this, we saw crazy decoupling this week with crypto and stocks going in completely opposite directions. And total crypto market cap is up 13% now, adding 291 billion. So you look at U.S. stocks that erased 1.4 trillion in the same period with the S&P 500. Is there some rotation on the move right now? And I think when you look at some other things that are starting to happen on the macro forefront, one of them could be this right here, and that is SpaceX shares worth 42 billion are unlocking tomorrow. Get that number right, guys. 42 billion unlocked tomorrow, about 1.87 billion shares trading freely right now. So this would add another 17% to the float, and it also potentially could put a lot of money in the market. And could that be a rotation layer going into some of these other assets that have been suppressed for quite some time, mostly in digital assets? Let me go to a clip because not everyone was looking at this event as a positive sentiment move. Take a look.
Those companies are now standing in the Oval Office with Donald Trump as he profits from crypto. It's right there for all of us to see.
It's really crazy. Kimberly, I don't even, I don't really know what the crypto is. Okay, yeah. It's the Bitcoin, it's the meme coins, it's the coins. I don't know. People buying digital paintings and then they say it's a coin. This is not a story about Bitcoin and the industry. This is a story about who is the president beholden to?
You don't have to understand crypto.
Because I don't, child. I was Googling today like,
what's going on in here? What's going on is corruption.
So I actually think that this is a case where it would have been hard to have necessarily predicted that that the Trump family, so to speak, would become so interested in crypto. And so now there's this Clarity Act that is before Congress, and it's going to get a vote in probably mid-September, but it doesn't look very likely that any regulation is going to happen. Does it?
Yeah, no. Who would be surprised by that?
To be honest, the ethics folks at the White House, it's not enforceable, okay?
There are proponents out there on both sides, I think, with what's happening right now. And it really boils down to whether or not the banks got ahead of what was going to happen around Clarity based on this meeting yesterday. It might have been a good move, in essence, for the banks themselves to be not necessarily associated with that. We'll see if that plays out. And it also could be an issue where it could pressure more Democrats to maybe vote no. So I don't know if this has been a good thing yet or not. It will still depend on how the House and the Senate navigate midterms, but more importantly, how the Democrats and the remaining Republicans navigate the Clarity vote. And you had Peter Schiff over here saying that the rally above 72 is a fake out, not a breakout. Treasury buyback announcement caught markets by surprise. I would agree with that. Bitcoin investors have long believed a return to easy money would be the catalyst for gold and Bitcoin to soar. And Bitcoin and gold both up this week. All right, so this may look at it on a completely different way than what Schiff is going at. And this is in the essence that a lot of people have been in DCA mode for quite some time. Take a look.
We have something called reoccurring investments. So in other words, if I want to put $50 in the market on a monthly, weekly, annual basis I can set it, and it'll happen on a continuous basis. For the last 5 years, the most popular instrument to be acquired is Bitcoin.
All right, so you can kind of see there, this is something where average Americans have been investing in Bitcoin for quite a while. And if you were going in around the 60 or even sub 60 when you had a chance, then you're sitting in a pretty good position right now. Maybe we'll see more of that pressure. And if you look at some of the market, not saying all, but a handful are now starting to point at the 100K mark once again. And that is Standard Chartered predicting Bitcoin will hit 100K by the end of the year. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think we see 100K by December 31st this year? A Santa rally, is it in play? Put it down below in the comments. I want to play a clip here for you because this is Brian Armstrong talking about, are we on the edge of a bull market? Take a look.
I'm curious how much you think that was a bounce off of the back effectively of the meeting that you had, or really in reaction to what Scott Bessent did.
One is that we've been in a bear market on spot crypto trading for the last year or so. You know, they're going to say, well, this one's about over and it's time for the next bull run in crypto. They're also looking at this September 15th vote for the Clarity Act. There's a good chance we're on the cusp of the next bull market for spot trading in crypto. But now it's really good that we have a deadline, September 15th. And I've got to give credit to Leader Thune, who scheduled that. There's a lot of competition for that floor time. There's a lot of competing interests. He would not have scheduled this on September 15th if he didn't think it would pass.
All right, so you can see Armstrong definitely leaning into the market. This is where it gets a little bit dicey for me because this could easily go one way or the other. I don't think this is a slam dunk by any means. And Brian goes in and says, hey, here's my vision board, and that is strong bipartisan vote on clarity, unless he knows something that I don't know around, and I'm sure he will, but everyone that we're talking to, and I would say our channel has talked to more people than any other media outlet when it comes to this topic in the last 2 years. And the amount of context that we get behind the scenes from this, still not necessarily leaning in on this. Then, of course, he points to Uptober as being the market correction. And then, of course, the next crypto bull run begins. One thing is for sure, and that is altcoins have added over 90 billion in just 2 days. You've got Hype up 21%. I'll zoom in on that right there. ETH up to 18. XRP coming in at 18. Solana up 12. This is getting crazy, guys, because we are going to see a very interesting response here, because you're going to have one of two things happening. This could be the beginning of something greater on a bull run and a cycle of rotation of capital, or do you get a pause and a retracement? Maybe it doesn't come back 20%. Maybe it comes back 10. Are we in setting up for that? So a couple of points right now. If you look at ETFs alone, spiking on Ethereum ETFs, absolutely coming off the floor and moving in very, very quickly. And I think this could be the beginning of institutional starting to edge back in on this. All right, of course, you had another major project up there, and that, of course, was Chainlink. And Sergey was there speaking to the White House as well on tokenization and pretty much the impact of how this affects American economy. We'll see if Chainlink starts to get its way. And, of course, it also pumped as well. Other things to consider right now, and this is getting into more of the fundamentals of why maybe the market is moving in the way it is. U.S. Treasury doubled the size of its long-end bond buybacks the day after the 30-year yield hit a 19-year high at 5.3. So think about that for a second. And also, for the first time, the fiscal authority, not the Fed, stepped in to defend the long end with 24-hour highs. So that all moves to one position, and that is continuing to print. One other point within this statement right here, I want to be warned that this is not instant liquidity flood happening right now. This is the entire scaffolding being set up for the much larger game. The great game is the funding of the aging population along with the funding of the new demographic of AI and bots. And of course, that is the shifting of what's been happening on Wall Street, now moving into more AI and tech. Both games are too big and too important to stop. The funding of the intelligence build out is the most important game of all time. So it's too big to fail. And I think that's where we are right now. So could you look at a hyper-scaling market starting to set up now with what crypto is doing in its early stage and possibly coming out of what has been a bear market? All of this playing into very interesting macroeconomics. Here's Mohamed El-Erian talking about this. This is in reference to the bet on growth. Take a look.
Are we calling this yield curve control?
We are. We're calling it, it's really Operation Twist, like the good old days. You end up buying the long end, and you'll issue more at the short end, and you're just trying to influence yields in the short term.
Does it suggest to you that 5.3 was some kind of pain point of sorts?
It does. We got a small signal when we got the joint intervention with Japan, because the US was worried that Japan would be selling more treasuries. But this is a much bigger signal. And it's not because of the economic implication as much as it is the political implications and the social implications. So look, fundamentally, we have a race going on between the promise and the earnings that comes with AI and the cost of funding all that. That's a race going on. And that race is going to determine many, many things. So whichever way you look, these YCC measures are not a free lunch at all. Fundamentally, we are betting on higher growth rate in the future that will allow us to afford all this debt issuance that's happening on the corporate side and on the government side.
All right, so money on the sidelines, that's what they're trying to avoid. This is the issue, resetting these yields. So this, of course, gets money back active in the market. Other things you kind of have to concern yourself with is where the shift of power may be starting to occur. Here's the ex-Signature Bank chair warning that big banks will use blockchain to extinguish crypto companies. So this was Scott Shade saying simply that there's something in it for them. They plan to use blockchain rails to take market share from crypto rivals and smaller banks. That means all of the regionals that they were kind of protecting, most likely out with the wind. This may be the big getting bigger, and it could be more impressive in a way of how this cycles in over the next 4 years, where we may see a lot of crypto companies starting to see a different future altogether. We're going to be covering this and a lot more this week, so make sure and stay tuned. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.